Right, question 6 is your typical questionnaire question. So use these two questions in the questionnaire. What's your age? So you've got values you can pick under 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, and then over 60. The big problem with that question, so for 6a, what's the problem with question 1, is there are overlapping boxes. And then just put i.e. 40 is a good example there. And then the second question, you should eat fruit every day, do you agree? Well, that's a leading question, isn't it? So it's leading you, it's making you feel like you should say yes. So that's a leading question. Part B, Helen wants to find out the amount of fruit people eat. Design a question that Helen could use in a questionnaire. So how many pieces of fruit do you eat? That's the first bit. But so how many pieces of fruit do you eat? Now you've got to put a time scale on it, or a time frame. So you can say per day, per week, per month. As long as you put one down, then it gives the question context. Otherwise you don't have any context at all to that question. And then design the question so you've got that, and then you can just then put response boxes, so 0, 1 to 2, 3 to 4, and then 5 plus. Something like that would be fine. Then got part C. The table shows some information about people at Helen's college. She's going to ask people at college to do a questionnaire. She has a sample of 100 people, stratified by type and gender. Work out the number of female teachers in a sample. So what you've got to do here is female teachers, you put how many there are, which is 73. You divide that then by the total of the entire population, because you want to work out the proportion of the female teachers here. And then you do that, that gives you the proportion. You then times that by the sample size. Once you've done that, then just put this through just to make sure that I'm happy with what I've done. So this is just going into a calculator now. And you end up with 7.2, etc. So you're going to then say it's roughly equal to 7, because you've got to put it to whole people, because it's a person we're talking about. Question 7. Charlie invests £1,200 at 3.5% per annum. Work out the value of Charlie's investment after 3 years. So you're looking to add 3.5% on every year for 3 years, but after each year you'll include the percent that's been added on. So there's a very easy way of doing this. You take your initial and you times that then by what we call the decimal multiplier of the percentage. Now 1.03 would increase something by 3% every year. So if you put a 5 on the end, that's increasing it by 3.5% every year, and you're wanting it over 3 years. Put this together then, 1,200 times by 1.035, and then to the power of 3, and that will then give, and we're probably looking to the nearest pence, £1,330 and 46 pence. Question 8. So we've got to work, first of all, write down the modal interval. The modal is the one that's got the most number, greatest frequency. So that's 25 to 30. Work out an estimate for the mean midday temperature. So what you need to do there is create 2 extra columns. So you need to first of all take an estimate of each temperature, and then you need to times that estimate by the number of times that temperature is shown up. So what we do is we find the midpoint of the temperature, and then we create a column called fx, which is this frequency column here, times by the midpoint. So you'd be 12.5, 17.5, 22.5, 27.5, 32.5, and then 37.5. So you times each one of these individually by the frequencies, so that's 6 times 12.5. Then we've got 17.5 times 4, which is 70. 22.5 times 24, which is 540. We've then got 27.5 times by 44 is 1210. 32.5 times by 10 is 325. And then we've got 37.5 times by 4, which gives you 150. And then you never ever add this midpoint. This has absolutely nothing to do with anything. You add your frequency effect column up, which is 2370. And when you've then got 2370, you're then going to divide it by the number of days. So if we add up the number of days, 4 plus 6 plus 24 plus 44 plus 10 plus 4 is 92. So then the mean will be worked out by doing this number here divided by 92. So that will then give you an answer of 25.8. It asks to 3 significant figures, so 25.8 degrees it'll be. Sorry there. There's degrees. So we've done that one. Then it says on the grid opposite, draw a cumulative frequency graph for the information from the table about midday temperatures. Right, so the cumulative frequency graph is plotting the upper values, so the upper values here, and against what we call the cumulative frequency. So the cumulative frequency, the accumulative frequency, accumulate means adds on as we go. Think of it as a snowball rolling down a hill. Snowball starts very small. As it rolls down, it gets bigger and bigger, and it accumulates points. So we roll it to 0.15 here, and at that point it's then just got 6. Then we roll it down to 20, and this is why we take the top values, because if you only rolled it halfway, you wouldn't pick up all these numbers, would you? So then it's 10, add another 24 on, 34, add another 44 on, that's 78, 10 on, 88, and add a 4 on, 92. Nice check for you here is on your 92, they should add up together. So you should add these numbers as well as a check. So we're plotting at the top end, so it's 15, and then we plot at 6. We've then got 20 and 10. We then have 25 and 34. We've then got 30 and 78. We've got then 35 and 88. And then we've got 40 and 92. At that point then we're going to draw a cumulative frequency, so temperature here. Sorry, that's actually wrong. It's incorrect what I'm about to draw there. Because you start from the starting point in these ranges here. That's a bit poor from me, sorry. So it's starting from 10, so the curve goes then through these lines. And do your best to draw the best curve you've got. And try and keep your pen eye to lose a bit there, because it's hard drawing it like I am, but try and draw as smooth a curve as possible. Find estimates for the median and the interquartile range. So the median, well, there's 92 bits of data, so halfway will be where the median is. So half of 92 will be 46. So we go across at 46, and then it hits the curve, move that slightly there, and it hits it around about, I would say, about 27. It's not going to be perfect, but you can actually add 1 onto this here. So you can get your 92nd point, add 1 and half it. That gives you the official value. But you get that close with 46 anyway, you're fine. So at that point then we cover our median, and our median then we put down is 27. I'm just going to fit it in here. And then the interquartile range we are then going to read from the graph. Now we'll read the interquartile range means the quarter points. So this is halfway at 46. So you can go down then to 23 and then go up. Now you would actually do 92 add 1 divided by 2, and then you get this value, and then add 1 again and divide by 2. So it'll give you this, and then add 23 onto your 46, which will then give you 69, and go across at 69, and then come down, and then you take 1 off the other. So the interquartile range is this number here, so we'll say 30 minus then 24, which gives you 6.